Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, March 2nd, 2015. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm joined by Steve Hellwagon. Steve, the Buckeye basketball team was able to pull it out last night at home against Purdue. Ohio State won 65-61. The Buckeyes were trailing by 12 points at halftime. It was not looking good, to say the least. It was 35-23 Purdue at halftime. But the Buckeyes came out firing and really played exceptionally well in the second half. Another great game for D'Angelo Russell, 28 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Steve, they needed this one. I still think they would have made the tournament, don't get me wrong, but they needed this to have any semblance of a good seed. They were able to pull it out last night.
Yeah, I agree, Dave. It kind of come down to that point of the year where either they were all in or they weren't. And, the things, honestly haven't gone that well for them this season. When you think about some of the losses that they've had, they were all single-digit losses, but they fell behind double digits in the first half in 6 of the 7 losses, and it looked like that was what was going to happen again last night. But they found a way to put it together in the second half, and as you said, this is, it's not the biggest win in the world, but at this time of the year, it could have still afforded the loss, and the win allows them to still stay in contention for a top 4 finish at the end of the year. They've still got to beat Penn State and find a way next Sunday to beat Wisconsin, the top team in the conference. But still, they kept that hope alive, obviously, with the comeback Sunday night.
Sam Thompson is the one senior I think is playing well. Not great, but he's playing well. The rest of the guys, we make fun of the senior class, and I feel like he gets lumped in with those guys, the underachievers. Shannon Scott, another rough game for him last night, really rough. 0 for 4 from the floor. Did have 5 points. He had 5 free throws. But the senior class continues to be a disappointment, other than Sam Thompson, who I think lately has come around. Now, overall this season, I think he's been a disappointment. But lately, Sam Thompson seems to be playing good basketball, Steve, and that's a great sign.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially since Mark Loving has been kind of slow getting back into the swing of things. It's been tremendous that Sam Thompson has stepped up his game. That steal that he had and went in for the dunk early in the second half kind of set the tone that said, we are coming back. We are going to get back in this game. And it was a play that you don't normally see from him. He took the ball away, I think, from Raphael Davis and went in for the dunk. And that was a huge play. Plus his block shot. Amir had to defend Hammonds that fell out of position on a play. I think he was lunging for the steal, and Hammonds caught it on the block and was about to go up for a dunk, and Sam came out of nowhere and elevated like nothing we've ever seen before and knocked that ball away. It got out to Cam Williams and then to Russell and then on to Amir Williams for the dunk, and that was a hustle play by all involved that really got the crowd involved, I thought, and really said, okay, this is we're making this a tough place to play right now with our defense and intensity, and really those 2 plays, hustle plays by Thompson, really kind of set the tone.
The Buckeyes are now 21-8 overall. They're 10-6 in the Big Ten, which they're in a 3-way tie for 4th place in the Big Ten. Michigan State and Iowa are also 10-6. The Buckeyes travel to Penn State on Wednesday, 6 p.m. tip, and then they host, of course, Wisconsin on Sunday, 4:30. That'll be huge if they can take care of business at Penn State, which won't be easy. That's always seems to be a tough game out there. Even though Penn State doesn't have a good record, I expect that'll be a close game. Hopefully Ohio State wins. And then I think it's possible they can beat Wisconsin. It won't be easy. Wisconsin will be favored, and rightfully so. But I think that game being at the shot, being senior day, I think the Buckeyes have a puncher's chance in that game, and then we'll see what happens in the Big Ten tournament. Steve, as we sit here right now, what kind of, I know it depends on obviously how they finish these last 2 games and then also, the Big Ten tournament, but give me an idea of what kind of seed you think the Buckeyes are looking at in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think most of the projections had them as an 8 seed going into this weekend, and that was a big win, obviously, over Purdue. Not just outside the top 15 RPI, Purdue was, so not the end-all, be-all, certainly, but still an important win. They can't afford to give any of this momentum back with a loss at Penn State. That would be devastating. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Wisconsin, I guess you just take your shot next Sunday and hope you have enough to beat them. They've been pretty dominant, only 2 Big Ten losses up till now. So I guess people want to wait and see what happens. If you figure they can beat Wisconsin, that may be worth 1 seed line in the NCAA tournament just by itself. That could move them up to a 7 or a 6. And really, Dave, in my mind, you got to win a couple games in Chicago and maybe get to the championship game if at all possible, because you do not want to be a 7 or an 8. Because the top 8 schools, I think, on the list right now, there'd be very little chance you're going to get past them on a neutral court to get to the Sweet 16. So if you're a 6, you'd be playing a 3 in the second round. And I think that'd be a much easier road. I think the power teams, you get beyond, the obvious ones, Duke, Virginia, Villanova, Wisconsin, I don't even know who else would be in there. Gonzaga, I suppose. You get beyond those top 5 or 6, you got much better shots. So don't want to play any of those teams the first weekend.
We're talking a lot of basketball. The weather is freezing cold outside. We're less than 2 months removed from the football team winning a national championship. But we'll let everybody know, spring football starts March 10th. That's 1 week from tomorrow. So 1 week from tomorrow, spring football kicks off. Steve, I'm looking forward to a bevy of things this spring. Of course, the position battles first and foremost. We'll get into that in the coming weeks, and also later this week. But we still haven't interviewed running backs coach Tony Alford. He was hired, and usually when they hire a new coach, maybe a week later or less, we'll get a chance to interview them. Well, I think they were waiting for spring ball to start to introduce Tony Alford to us. I expect we'll get to interview him within the first few days of spring ball. I expect we'll interview Coach Meyer either the first day or the second day. That's usually how they do it, and then we'll probably get Tony Alford within those first few days. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and getting to know Coach Alford, Steve.
I agree with you, Dave. I think I saw one interview with him on Channel 10 a week or so back, and he seems like a very engaging guy. He's going to pick up right where Stan Drayton left off. Stan was, in some respects, Urban Meyer's right-hand man, on the staff, and I think that, again, Alford is a guy that's going to bring in that recruiting prowess and coach the running backs, and really, his job is to make sure that Ezekiel Elliott continues to grow and build and become a better player, whatever the rough edges were on his game, 1,800 yards or whatever it was, almost 1,900 yards this past season. Keep him healthy, keep him upright. One thing that I learned last week is that guys that played quite a bit this past year, who played an infinite number of snaps, who hardly ever came out of the game, they're not going to push those guys real hard this spring. I think that's probably the right way to go. Those guys just need fine-tuning, and you need to bring the other guys around with reps and those kind of things this spring. So they're going to take it easy on some of the veteran players. I would presume that includes Elliott, who's coming off the wrist surgery. So, I'm interested to see how they handle that. And they have no shortage of backs to take that work. I mean, Ball and Dunn and everybody else that's there, they got some guys who can play.
On the recruiting front, Bill Kurlick already has his What I Am Hearing column on the site for subscribers. It includes an item on Josh Myers, of course, the number 1 offensive lineman in the 2017 class who's already committed to Ohio State, trying to recruit other top offensive linemen to join him in Columbus. So Bill has a note on that. He also has an item on 5-star LSU commit Savion Smith planning to visit Ohio State, and Bill has much more on the recruiting front that is already on the site for subscribers, so make sure you check out Bill Kurlick's What I Am Hearing. Thanks for the wisdom of Steve Hellwagon, and thanks to you for listening to the show. I really appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.